Addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
It was the same old tired show. The same old tired playbook we've heard for years, with no plan on how he would address the needs of the American people. Well, folks, it's time to turn the page. Time to turn the page.
In a long, lonesome county, east of Palestine, here I am on the air again. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thinking Logically. I'm your host, Joseph Anthony Corsai. Today, we're going to be talking quite a lot about that Kamala Oprah interview, if you want to call it that, an interview. Also, we're going to cover how, in a shocking twist, new documents prove that Donald Trump requested the National Guard troops on January 6th. And also more news about that Trump assassin, the second assassin. That was the one that was captured after he failed. Hopefully he doesn't get his guts blown out in a police precinct basement. Abortion, Iran, and much, much more. But first, we have to introduce the crew. The Puff Daddy to my notorious radio show, Ryan Garazunas. Ryan, I've been saving that analogy for a while now. How are you?
How you doing today, man?
I'm great.
Good. Did you catch up on any Britain circus over the weekend?
I did. It was an exciting week if you're a Steelers fan, I guess. If you are a few other teams in NFL, particularly in the AFC North, I guess you had a good outing if you're the Ravens. But again, Browns.
Yes, and also, both football teams that play their home games at Acrisure Stadium are undefeated, Joe. No losses, 4-0 for Pitt, 3-0 as you're referring to for the Steelers. So super pumped up, man, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say today.
I got my Pitt shirt on right here, man.
Looking good.
Ready to go.
Looking good.
4-0. First time since I was in high school. All right, and also still alive after last week, it's Mr. Gordy. Mark, you had us nervous. I don't know what happened. You just cut out. We forgot kind of all about you after that. Sorry.
Joe, yeah, good reason to. I was on Smithfield Street, downtown Pittsburgh, where a lot of crime happens. But no, I was actually off to a fundraiser to support our good friend Roman Kozak, running for the 14th district here in Pennsylvania. So we wish Roman the best of luck. And Joe, migrant crime has come to Pittsburgh, so hopefully we'll be getting into that as well. Okay.
All right. Well, the first thing we need to cover today, we need to cover that disastrous interview with Kamala and Oprah. If you haven't watched it, don't worry, we have the clips. But calling this an interview is a lie, because this wasn't an interview. It was a live-streamed campaign event for Kamala that involved numerous celebrities, scripted questions, I'm sure, and a host that is probably one of Kamala's main donors. So it was live streamed, but the numbers on YouTube were less than 1 million, I believe. And on social media, specifically X, it was worse. Now, I just want to remind our audience that Trump did a live stream event on X Spaces hosted by Elon Musk a month or two ago. What were the numbers on that video? Like 250 million people watched it as of this weekend, I saw. 1 billion with a B. Granted, that video had more time to accumulate views, but how is this even a close race when you just go on views alone? Another thing we are lied to about every day. But the Kamala campaign, they should be thanking their lucky stars the numbers on this interview with Oprah were so low, because she bombed. I mean, there were times where Oprah looked like she wanted to slouch back in her chair and put her hand in her face and cry. I don't know. She had to be completely mentally checked out after that experience. Mark, we have a lot of sound bites we're going to have to get through, but dear Lord, I was waiting for the principal from Billy Madison to walk out and grab the mic and tell her we're all dumber now from having to hear what you just had to say.
Joe, did you know Kamala Harris grew up in a middle-class family?
Oh, yeah. Middle class. Yeah. We've been hearing that a lot lately.
That's how she addresses all of her. Every time she's been asked about how she's going to bring down the cost of goods and everyday items that people need. Well, did you know I grew up in a middle-class family? So, Joe, apparently she had a teleprompter as well in her view, so I don't know if that was showing her what Oprah was going to say or not. But Yeah, this was a disaster. I mean, they made it out to be like this cool celebrity thing. Listen, no one cares who your favorite celebrity endorses. No one cares. That moves the needle less than a millimeter. But yeah, this was, I don't know. Did Obama set this up? Because I feel like they're tight with Oprah or two. So I don't know. I don't think this played
So is Diddy.
how they thought it was going to. Yeah. Another puff piece for Kamala.
Mark, I think
But you know what, Joe? What's that?
I think you have to hit mute. I've been hearing an echo. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It could just
But
be.
you know what, Joe? She wants to debate Donald Trump again on October 23rd on CNN. Why would you want to debate someone if you're winning? Maybe because she isn't winning. And I don't think this is going to be close if all things are equal. They're going to have to do a lot to steal this election this time around.
Well, they did a lot in 2020. Did you see immediately after it came out, the TikTok store that they use says, "I do not support Harris," and made a big lengthy statement to her fellow Americans?
I did see that. Yeah.
She said, "Let me make something perfectly clear, okay? I do not support Harris for president." And said, I guess she was mocking and imitating Harris's often roundabout way of speaking. I want to be unburdened by who has been in the White House the last 3.5 years, okay? And I stand here today on this stage, standing out on the stage today, the day after yesterday. I just want you to know, okay, she sounds exactly like Kamala when she talks like that. And that's what we're going to get into with the sound bites here that we have.
Well, you know who else endorsed Trump was a mayor from Michigan, who's the mayor of a largely, predominantly Muslim town or city in Michigan, also came out and endorsed Donald Trump over the weekend. So
these are real people, former Democrats that or current Democrats that are actually Republicans. Kamala picked up another one. We'll get into that later in the episode. I don't want to spoil it. All right, let's get to some of the sound clips from this. Again, I guess.
By the way, Joe, Trump's in Indiana, PA tonight, correct?
I think he is. A lot of people are in Pennsylvania today. Alex Jones is in PA, Scranton, Tucker Carlson. There's a lot of people in Pennsylvania right now.
Good reason.
Yeah, but let's take a look at some of these sound bites. All right, Ryan, I got these all listed as I think Oprah. I can't remember, or Kamala or Oprah. Play sound bite 1.
We love our country.
Oh, God, already.
I love our country. I know we all do. That's why everybody's here right now. We love our country. We take pride in the privilege of being American.
So for the audience listening, we're just going to go over like 6 or 7 of these sound clips. Then me and Mark are just going to give our opinion, tear her apart probably. First off, if she really did love our country, like she says, she wouldn't have donated money to bail people out that were burning it down in 2020. And if it's such a privilege to be an American, why do we let anyone and everyone in and then treat them better than the people that fight in wars for the country? I mean, we're going to have a lot of stuff a lot of paint to peel off the wall here, Mark. But I mean, I don't know.
These sound bites are. I mean, well, go ahead, Joe.
Let's just go. Okay, soundbite number 2.
We really would love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living.
Yeah, first of all, thank you both for being here. And yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family, and working hard and finding that the American dream is, for this generation and so many recently, far more elusive than it's been. And we need to deal with that. And there are a number of ways. One is bringing down the cost of everyday necessities, including
she's been going on for about 50 seconds here. It's only an hour-long show that we have here twice a week, so we can't play everything. But the question was, we would love to know your plan for lowering the cost of living. Now, that was mostly word salad, but let's just not forget, Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote for the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, if you've been listening to this show, you know that the Inflation Reduction Act is actually the Inflation Production Act. So she could have lowered the cost of living by not being the tie-breaking vote. Mark, we're going to go on and on. Just if you want to make a point, just jump in whenever, because this is foolish, the things that she's saying.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I mean, there's the only point that needs to be made, Joe, is just playing these audio clips because she's saying absolutely nothing. I mean, she's like Pete Buttigieg almost. Like, you're just talking these word salads, and after like a minute of listening, you're like, what did I just hear? Like, this doesn't make any sense at all. Get to the point.
All right, get to the point. That's asking a lot of her because she doesn't know what the point is. Again, she just rambles. Is this the gun audio? This might have been the worst one for her. I don't know. They were all equally bad. Maybe it's a tie between all of them. But play the gun audio one, Ryan. I think that's number 3.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
Oprah's trying to shut her up.
Somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
My staff will deal with that later.
But you.
Her staff will deal with that
her
later.
staff did deal with that, Joe.
Please break the news to our audience because I'll let you tell. What did we find out about Kamala Harris and guns?
She doesn't own a weapon. She doesn't own a gun.
She doesn't own, not even a little pistol, a little 22 something, Mark, right? We're not talking about an assault weapon. We're not talking about weapons of war, just a handgun. You know, the kind of guns that kill more Americans than any other gun, but you know, she doesn't own anything like that. So she lied again. I wonder what she'll say if that answer that she gave, if it polls bad. Maybe she'll say she bought a gun off her running mate, Tim Walz, at a gun show. I don't know. We just played the audio last week of her from 2018 saying she would enforce a mandatory gun buyback. And now she's a proud gun owner ready to bust a cap in someone's ass if they break in? Mark, who is this woman?
So now she's all of a sudden, she wants Americans to believe that she's a gun-toting, pro-fracking, strong Democratic woman who wants to build a border wall. Yeah, okay.
She keeps all of her fracking material and handguns underneath her Bible in her drawer.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, speaking of Bible, Joe, did you see that she's skipping the Al Smith dinner in New York City? That's a big Catholic Charities dinner.
Is that the one that Trump did? Is that the one that Trump did with Hillary?
I think she saw the highlights from 2016 when Trump went after Hillary at this dinner, but no Democratic nominee skips the Al Smith dinner. This is a big function. And she's decided to skip that. So I hope all the Catholics that are going to vote for Kamala Harris out there are paying attention.
For our audience, that's a good point you brought that up because I remember it was like a stand-up routine for Trump, and it was funny, but he just gave up all the facts about Hillary. And the last line I think he delivered was, you know, she's famous for saying it takes a village, and Hillary has taken a lot of them in Haiti. So I could see why Kamala did not want to go to that dinner where she could open herself up.
But Kamala can get in some shots too. You know, it goes both ways.
But again, if you're, I could get in some shots maybe against Mike Tyson in his prime. Maybe I get a couple shots in. What's going to happen to my jaw and my face? It's going to get rearranged. Like I'm going to look like Donald Duck or whoever it is with the bill in the back of my head. All right. Did you know Kamala Harris is a prosecutor, Mark? The person that will shoot anyone on sight. Did you know she was actually a federal prosecutor?
Yes. Yes.
Ryan, play clip 4 of Prosecutor Kamala.
I thought she was going to enforce the border.
Yeah.
What would be specific steps to strengthening the border?
So it's a wonderful and important question. You know, my background was as a prosecutor, and I was also the elected attorney general for 2 terms of a border state. So this is not a theoretical issue for me. This is something I've actually worked on. I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations.
Really?
For the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I take very seriously the importance of having a secure border and ensuring the safety of the American.
You know what? Was she even a prosecutor? Question 1. Number 2, if she was, let's see the court transcripts where she prosecuted these transnational criminal organizations. I would love to hear what she sounds like when she tries a case. She may make the stuttering dude from My Cousin Vinny look like Aaron Brockovich. I mean, jeez. And Mark, 1,500 people, Border Patrol agents. The issue is their policies, is it not? Not the amount of Border Patrol agents. We could need more, but 1,500 is a drop in the bucket at this point.
Yeah, you know what, Joe? I saw this on X today. They had an ad. Speaking of that, they had an ad for Border Patrol agents starting out at $30,000 a year. Would you want to go secure the border and deal with the cartels and the wolves and the drug runners down there for $30,000?
That's less than the illegals get coming in. That's less than the illegals get per year coming in benefits.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Jeff Clark, shout out to Jeff Clark on X. If you want to follow him, I believe the account is at Jeff Clark US. He's been asking for several weeks if any Democrat or member of the press can prove. Actually, he's asking for a transcript of a case that Kamala Harris prosecuted. And so far, nothing. Nothing. He said, I'm starting to get doubtful she has ever actually prosecuted a case through to trial. I don't know. Challenge. If you're out there, we'd love to hear it. But real quick, Ryan, play the rest of her answer on that because she blames the border issue on Trump, I believe. Play the next audio.
Sadly, where we are now can be traced most recently back to the fact that when the United States Congress, members of the Congress, including some of the most conservative Republicans, came up with a border security bill. And here's what that border security bill would have done. It would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border. Let me tell you, those border agents are working around the clock. It would have just been about giving them some support and relief.
For $30K
which is probably why the border agents actually endorsed the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl. And I'm looking at people from all over the country here. So I don't need to tell the folks who are watching this what fentanyl has done.
She has some nerve.
To kids in our country and the need to take
you know what? Someone should bring up Lincoln Riley. It's amazing. The nerve, the gall in these people. Mark?
Yeah, she has some nerve. She has some nerve. Is this the point of the episode, Joe, where we talk about the migrant crime that happened here in Pittsburgh?
We could. I mean, we could bring it up whenever. Yeah, bring it up now. You talk about the car accident?
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, when I tell people this is why I'm voting for Donald Trump, I mean, one of the reasons, but this is a headline from WPXI. This is today, 11:24 a.m. Suspect in deadly hit-and-run crash in Dormont is undocumented immigrant, police say. Hello. These are all self-inflicted wounds, right? None of this had to happen. But because we have an open border, because we let people across our border, and we fly people across the border, right, into all these towns across America. Pittsburgh is thousands of miles from the border, obviously. And yet now we are a border city, and we're a border state because we have stuff like this happen. A man charged in a hit-and-run crash that left a young musician dead in Dormont is an undocumented immigrant. How about let's call him an illegal alien? Allegheny County Police confirmed to Channel 11. Crash happened Saturday night near Pioneer and West Liberty Avenue. Christian Sluka, 23, was killed. And it says, in an update Sunday evening, police identified Saul Rivera Ramirez as the driver. After the crash, he allegedly got out of the car and ran away from the scene. So he's facing charges including homicide by vehicle, driving without a license, and he is not a United States citizen. And I wonder if he'll get deported, Joe, or if they'll just try him here.
After he does his time, because you could deport him, he'll come right back. Audience, a lot personal here. A lot of people may not know this. I'm actually named after someone that was killed in a hit and run. My father's brother, Joseph Anthony Corsi, was killed in a hit and run in Monaca Center in the mid-late 70s. And I never found the guy. But back then, though, the saying was, it was always alcohol related or something like that. You shouldn't have been on the road. The guy was drunk. He shouldn't have never been on the road. Today, something like this happens. No one ever says the guy should have never been in the country. The guy should have never been in the country. And again, another American's dead. That should be the main talking point, the main argument. I don't know. Instead, they'll blame the guns. No one's blaming the vehicle here. Just saying.
But you know what? All these people that defend this policy and brush it off as to it's no big deal. What if that was your son or daughter that got killed by an illegal migrant, I should say, alien that was here in this country illegally?
I would paint the floor with that person's corpse.
Yep. How would you feel? But hey, people say, they're just here to work. Yeah, okay. Keep telling yourself that. Keep voting for Kamala Harris, and you'll get 4 more years of this.
All right. And these people could be your neighbors. And, you know, like Kamala says, when you see the face of a neighbor in a stranger or something, I don't even know what the point she was trying to make. Ryan, play that next audio of Kamala.
And this movement that we're in about, as I like to say, seeing in the face of a stranger a neighbor.
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
An extension of love thy neighbor, that you literally in the face of a stranger see a neighbor.
Yes.
And approach each other with that level of dignity and grace and kindness.
This is the same lady from the administration that said MAGA Republicans are a threat to this country and democracy, Mark. And now neighbors are strangers and strangers are neighbors. Stranger neighbors?
Yeah. Well.
All right, we got one more clip here of Kamala word salad, and then we're going to start to cut out to a commercial. If you want to comment anything on this next clip, Ryan, or Ryan too, Mark, go right ahead after the clip. Ryan, play the last Kamala Oprah clip.
Which is, we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible.
Ryan, do you believe what's possible?
I don't believe what I'm hearing.
Mark, anything before we go to a break?
No, Joe, I've heard enough of that. I've heard that all weekend, so.
All right, we got to take a quick break here, but when we return, Kamala picks up a new endorsement from an entity that may be even more hated than the Cheneys. Who is it? You may know him as Erwin R. Shyster. Stay tuned. You're listening to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP.
You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond. Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today. Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP, brought to you by So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing. Whether you need your house washed, driveway clean, patio done, fences, gutters, you name it. Call Dave from So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing at 724-252-4489. That's 724-252-4489. They're fully insured and offer free estimates. So what are you waiting for? Don't be the outcast in your neighbor with a dirty deck or house. Call So Fresh, So Clean Pressure Washing today. All right, Mark. So we covered the Oprah Kamala thing in detail. I don't think we'll go back to that. But the IRS came out. The Union for the IRS endorsed Kamala. So is it not obvious that the Cheneys and everyone else. Can we get some real people, some people that aren't hated by the I don't know, half the country or more? The IRS, Mark? That's what you're going to brag about?
The IRS union, Dick Cheney, Vladimir Putin, who else? Hillary Clinton. Who else endorsed Kamala that everyone can't stand? Are we forgetting anyone?
I don't know, maybe.
Liz
but
Cheney. Adam Kinzinger. Yeah, Joe, I mean, of course, she's going to get those 87,000 IRS agents on the streets to go after hardworking middle and lower class families in this country. So I'm sure that's why they endorsed her.
Oh God!
I mean, because they want to get themselves, maybe a little bit of a pay raise. Who knows, Joe?
They don't want to be burdened by what has been something or other. By the way, if you could do a Kamala impression, props to you, because that's got to be one of the harder impressions to do, because you have to just lose your train of thought halfway through. All right.
I think Joe, with these endorsements with Putin, with the Cheneys, the Democrats are so brainwashed at this point that they think this is awesome. Like, they think this is so cool, But what do you think they think when they see RFK, Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, all of these big time people coming together in this unity party endorsing Trump? I mean, I don't think it registers in their head. I mean, these Democrats think Elon Musk is a villain now, and they think RFK is a crackpot. I think that's kind of the mindset when they see all these things. And Dick Cheney's this great American, and it just blows my mind how just completely off the rails some of these people are.
Yeah, they dressed up Dick Cheney like a cowboy, made him give a speech. Like all of a sudden, Democrats that have hated him for 100 years are going to like him all of a sudden.
Yeah, like he was John Dutton in Yellowstone.
All right, let's get to these fake Kamala rallies. And you're probably thinking, fake? What are you talking about? Grassroots campaign. We were at a bus tour in Rochester. Blah, blah, blah. Well, nearly six is from Vanessa Kedgson. When someone has a J as the second letter in their last name, I'll never be able to pronounce it. Anyway, she says nearly 6 hours before Vice President Kamala Harris is scheduled to speak in Madison, supporters are already loading up onto buses to head to Alien Energy Center? Loading? What? They're loading up onto what? I mean, I wonder if these people are paid. Remember that this is supposed to be a grassroots campaign. So if that is found out, her campaign, it's over. Now, whether the super sleuths on X and social media dug into this data, Kamala, I don't know, but this is coming from super sleuths on X and TikTok and whatever, and they say of the 5,003 mobile devices at Kamala Harris's rally in Charlotte, North Carolina on Thursday, it appears over 3,600 came from Georgia, mainly Atlanta, and approximately 720 from Savannah. That means nearly 80% of the attendees at North Carolina rally were from Georgia. That leaves only 600 or so local people from North Carolina that attended. Now, how is she going to get 80 million plus votes with those kind of numbers? Mark, at the Trump events, you don't see organized buses. Fry Transportation has never been called to go to a Trump event and bus people in. People just show up, right?
I'm sure if Fry Transportation was called, Joe, they would answer that call and get people to Trump rallies if they needed to be there. But, Joe, I don't understand. I mean, 81 million votes is what Biden got in 2020, allegedly. Trump got 74 million. Are you telling me Kamala Harris is going to get more than 81 million votes, Joe? People couldn't stand this woman 2 months ago. Now all of a sudden, a lot of these things, Joe, I think we're going to find out here in a few weeks. It'll be 43 days away from Election Day, I believe it is now, 6 weeks. A lot of manufactured enthusiasm, a lot of manufactured support, we'll say. I don't know. But these rallies, I mean, and then the Kamala campaign posts videos of the Trump rallies of people leaving the rallies. So that's their kind of answer to all this. I think that's where I don't know the context of that. But Trump had a rally. Where was it? A couple days ago. I saw it. It was an unbelievable. New York, Long Island. It was an unbelievable crowd up in Long Island. And we're going to see today. He's at IUP at the Kovalchik Center, I believe, where they play basketball. So not going to be the biggest event in the world. But, Joe, if I'm Trump, I'm probably going to hunker down for the next couple of weeks because, the security threat he's facing is unprecedented right now. And according to Matt Gaetz, there are 5 teams across the country, 3 domestic and 2 foreign or vice versa, that are out to get him. I wouldn't be going anywhere other than these rallies, and I would have no off-the-record movements. I would be going from Mar-a-Lago to a rally and back, and that's it for the next 6 weeks. The risk is way too great.
I think we got
Trump right now to be out there in the public.
I think we had a caller. Caller, are you there?
I'm there. How you doing? I'm here. How you doing?
Oh, it's Don. Don, did you know that 90% of the people that were at the North Carolina rally have been to 3 or more rallies for Kamala? Are you one of those people?
I am the biggest sellout in the history of the world. I am willing to take any civil service job to get her across the finish line. One I'd like to see Wisconsin. That's one of my favorite college football teams, and I will be willing to go to the old folks' homes and explain to 97-year-old great-grandmas how I'm going to fill out the absentee ballot and continue Wisconsin's tradition of 99% of the people, I presume, in the old folks' home voting for the Democrats. How about you? Isn't it time to sell out? You could get a job driving a forklift for the bricks for the riots, or to bring votes in. The Democrats are telling us that they've never cheated at anything. Are you buying that?
Well, no, I'm not buying that. But you brought the pay scale can't be that good because if they're only paying $150,000 to assassinate Trump, I don't know if you saw that news of the second assassin. It doesn't seem they're paying that good. Is that even a livable wage in this Biden economy?
Well, say that again, real quick. I just started to think of what I was going to say. Say it again.
$150,000 was going to be paid out by that second assassin to whoever could kill Trump. That's not even that good of a wage in this Biden economy, I said.
Oh, you know what? That's not a lot of money. It takes you $2 million to get a shortstop that can't hit 200. When I lived in a little town called Ore City, Texas, I worked at a steel plant. My wife worked as a waitress as a young lady at the restaurant, and they had a little old lady. And she was so sweet, and her family had lost their, just like my grandmother's on my mother's side, they had money in the bank. And one day they said, gee, the bank lost your money. So she stashed money in her house. People knew about it, and it was a lot of money. So her grandson would come in anytime he got a chance, which was more often than you think. Even though he worked, he looked like a hardworking man, and he was always scrubbed up. I'd seen him when he was drinking beer, big tough guy, but he would kiss Grandma, and she just loved that. And one day my wife said, that is told to everyone in that town. And she said, no one can talk her out of it because she thinks the banks are going to fail again. And the old mechanic, he was younger than me now, but he told me one time, he said, heaven help us, if anything happens to that old woman, I know that boy, he was a Harley rider, and he said, I know who he rides with, and he said, I can't see them getting out of East Texas alive. So I held that story for decades. And one day I told a boss of mine, I said, how do you seal off East Texas? And he looked at me like I was an infant, and he said, in an incident like that, you don't seal off East Texas. You just go get that guy. How come we haven't gone and gotten these assassination teams and murdered them, sir?
Because the people, listen, it's probably an inside job.
Because they don't want to.
They don't want to, exactly. We're getting this later in the episode. They're going to blame this on Iran as if Iran might have had something to do with it, as if someone in the Secret Service, Cheeto or Mayorkas in the Department of Homeland Security, as if they had no responsibility at all. Just watch, Don. I'm telling you.
Exactly. Have a good day, sir.
You too, Don. All right. I promise
we some breaking news, Joe.
Go ahead. What do you got?
Breaking news. President Donald Trump will return to Butler, Pennsylvania on October 5th. This is a campaign stop. It's unclear whether where in Butler the rally will be held. So I don't know if this is a rally, if it's just a campaign stop. We'll see, but details are not out right now. But October 5th, Donald Trump returns to Butler, Pennsylvania.
Interesting. We're going to take a break, but I did promise a little nitbit about abortion. So Kamala keeps on talking about Amber Thurman. So I had to look up who this person was. She had the entire crowd chant her name. Amber Thurman apparently died because she had an abortion, and an abortion pills tragically killed. Here's the facts. Abortion pills killed Amber Thurman. She took abortion pills. She was pregnant with, I think, twins, and she suffered sepsis as a result of a complication of the abortion pill and died because parts of her babies weren't expelled. And now pro-abortion media are claiming, along with Kamala Harris, that pro-life laws are responsible for Amber's death. Again, look into this yourself. She didn't die because of abortion laws. She died because of complications from an abortion drug, a medication. I thought Biden-Harris administration, quote, beat Big Pharma. Well, why do all their drugs kill people? I don't know. And just before we go to break, the messaging from the campaign, the slogan, we're not going back, as a campaign slogan, I want to go back. Take me back. Do you want to go back before we leave? Mark, do you want to go back?
I want to go back.
Ryan, do you want to go back?
I got my bags packed.
Yeah. All right. We got to take another commercial break, but stay tuned. We're going to talk about polls and who knows what else. The Trump assassins. It's a crazy world here in 2024. Stay tuned. You listen to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP. Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today. You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product.
Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Gullah with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Gullah of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. Our producer Ryan tried to cut me off. He must not like what I'm saying. Mark, you're the poll guy here. When I saw this, my jaw dropped. The New York Times general election poll from North Carolina, Trump 49%, Kamala 47%. And I'll tell you why that's important, because New York Times has never had Trump leading in North Carolina. They had him behind a few points in 2020 to Joe Biden, and by a lot, I think, to Hillary in 2016. Mark, this is good news, right?
This is great news. This is great news, and I'll come back to that in just a second. But this is from Scott Pressler, at Scott Pressler on X. We flipped Beaver County from blue to red.
Yeah.
We flipped Bucks County from blue to red, and then just, I think, in the last day or two, they flipped Luzerne County in northeastern Pennsylvania, coal country, from blue to red. He says this November we're going to flip Pennsylvania from blue to red, Joe. Big news out of Pennsylvania. Luzerne County is now red. I think that Democrats outnumbered Republicans back in 2020 by over 25,000. And now that is a Republican leaning county at this point. This New York Times Siena poll, Joe, was big. I mean, I think I saw this from Rasmussen last week that they said the narrative going forward, starting this week, was going to be that Kamala's support was going to be collapsing and that you're going to see the polls start to reflect that. And we have seen today from New York Times Siena that are a very reliable pollster that the Sun Belt is trending more and more toward Trump. Now, he has an issue in North Carolina, Trump does, because the Republican nominee for governor, Mark Robinson, I believe, is caught up in some sort of scandal down there. So I don't know if he's going to remain on the ballot or not. Could be bad news for Trump.
Can I talk about the scandal real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay, so he made comments on a porn website, on a porn video. I mean, granted, Hunter Biden had his own porn account, but again, we're worried about Mark Robinson, the governor candidate. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to just throw that in.
Yeah, no, but I'm trying to find this here on X, the New York Times Siena poll. But, here we go. Arizona, Trump 50, Harris 45. A 5-point lead for Trump in Arizona. Now, we know the Republicans outnumber Democrats in Arizona by a lot. We just need the independents to show up. So that's good news for Trump. North Carolina, as you said, 49-47, Trump. Last poll on August 15th. Harris was leading by 2. Now Trump's leading by 2 in North Carolina. And in Georgia, they have the Trump campaign up by 4 points over Kamala Harris. And Trump's lead is holding steady there. So good news for Trump there in the Sun Belt. I think it's all going to come down to Pennsylvania. And, I think maybe Trump wins either Michigan or Wisconsin, probably not both, but I do think Trump wins Pennsylvania. But again, now we're seeing, Joe, they're saying votes are going to be coming in from overseas, from Europe. What's up with that?
Oh, nice. The British are voting. Limey. Never mind.
Who knows? But what about this rule in Georgia, Joe, that they have to count all votes by hand that are cast that day? They said it could be taking them weeks to do that. What? Weeks?
One day. You got enough people. Figure it out. It takes 1 second to count a vote. Figure it out. Jeez.
Yeah. And voting has begun in Virginia, too, Joe, I believe. And I think they're using paper ballots down there, right?
Good. Everywhere should be using paper ballots. Should come to Beaver County, too. Because we don't know what the illegals... Yeah. Again, we should ask our county commissioners, everyone, how many illegal aliens are registered to vote in Beaver County? And how do you know there are none if there are none? Which ways... What did you do to check? Ask.
Yeah. And finally, Joe, I do want to mention New York. Not a state that's usually in play for Republicans, but Biden won New York by, I think, over 20 points in 2020. The last time we saw a poll coming out of New York, Kamala was only up by like 11, 12%. So Trump has cut that lead in half. I don't know if it's in play or not, but it might be. But, we're seeing things trending in the right direction for Trump. Let's just hope he could stay alive for the next 6 weeks.
Seth Keshel brought up about what you said about New York, and he did say about 12 to 14% at most. And he said if that is the case, it's a 313 electoral vote victory to 193 for Trump. Kamala's literally fighting over scraps in Minnesota, New Mexico, Virginia. If Virginia's that close too, forget it, man. Forget it. All right, let's talk about this assassin. Actually, let's just, again, new documents prove that Donald Trump requested National Guard troops on January 6th, and the Pentagon delayed it, and the Biden administration hit it. We don't have time to. It's September of 2024. We can't go back to January 6th, at least not this episode right now. So let's do the suspected would-be assassin. This guy considered Trump unfit for office and plotted to kill him for months and offered $150,000 to anyone who would finish the job. And that's according to a note found by investigators. Again, $150K for killing supposedly the most hated man in the world. It should be a few million, 7-8 digits. This comes to light literally days after we learned from Matt Gaetz that there are, quote, assassination teams on U.S. soil trying to take out Trump. DHS has also said there are 5. Yes, I said that correctly. 5 assassination teams in the country trying to eliminate President Trump. According to reports, DHS, which I'll remind our audience is led by Alexander Mayorkas, knows of 3 foreign and 2 domestic assassination teams. Again, we have more illegals in the country than domestic people. Jeez. Now, supposedly the DHS warned the Secret Service about this before July 13th. Knowing all this, Secret Service still took assets away from Trump's detail and gave them to protectees with a lower threat assessment, like Jill Biden at Rivers Casino. Maybe this is why Kim Cheadle resigned, everyone. I don't blame the Secret Service, at least not the rank and file. I blame her. And I don't trust the Department of Homeland Security either. If they try to say the Secret Service can't handle protecting Trump or anyone else, and they need to team up with the Department of Homeland Security or God forbid, the FBI, you know something's up. Mark?
Oh, Joe, this worries me. And I said it earlier. I wouldn't be going to too many places if I was Trump. Now, people have said, Trump hasn't had as many rallies as he did in 2020. Well, you think they keep trying to kill him? Would you? I mean,
Anne Frank won't come out of her attic. The Franks, we haven't seen them in a while here in Holland. What's going on?
Johnny Maga on X. This is from Ryan, the would-be assassin, Ryan Ruth. They found in his car that they pulled him over in six cell phones, 2 license plates, and a list with dates of Trump events a month in advance. There's still something incredibly sinister about this. He had 12 pairs of gloves, Hawaii driver's license, and a passport. Joe, I mean, this guy's obviously a sick individual, but I feel like there's a mole in the Secret Service, Joe. I just feel like something's off here. I feel like a lot of other people can agree with me in saying that something is off. There's either a mole. They know. How would this guy know how to be there on that exact date, on that exact hole? No one's even asking that question.
This dumb idiot, too.
Question to ask.
This dumb idiot, too. Come on. They're not setting their best, as Trump said 9 years ago. All right.
5 assassin teams, Joe. I feel like Iran does have a link to this, Joe, and that's going back to the Soleimani killing that Trump ordered when he was president. I don't know how Iran's involved, but I do feel like that they are trying to work their way in somehow into this. Whether that's, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate, but Trump needs to be very, very careful and possibly have to hire private security.
I don't doubt you on the Iran thing. I think that's legitimate, but let's take a look at the timeline and what I think it's going to lead to. So the DOJ claims Iran hacked the Trump campaign. July 7th, they supposedly hacked them. Then a week later, we have the Trump assassination attempt, literally 6 days later. What happens after that? Department of Homeland Security claims Iran has a plot to assassinate Trump. That was, I think, 2-3 days later, we found that out. Then we find out that Crooks, maybe the patsy we'll call, I don't know what we'll call him right now, the Crooks, the shooter, he has offshore bank accounts. His home is cleaned with a white glove, and all of his records are wiped off the internet. It's amazing. And now the second guy at Mar-a-Lago wrote in a book to have Iran assassinate Trump. And then he's also connected to Ukraine and the Azov Battalion, who are actually Nazis. So again, they are setting us up to get involved in a war by blaming this on a foreign country. It doesn't mean that Iran doesn't want to assassinate Donald Trump. It's just, why wouldn't you let him? That would cause chaos in this country, and you eliminate one problem, Trump, and you have a solution because you could go to war for the next 10 years again. Now, any attack is going to be blamed on Iran and used as an excuse to go to war. The information trail has already been laid by our mainstream media that's so honest and gets everything right. Again, Crooks, his bank accounts, where are they? Are they going to be found out to be connected in proxy or something to Iran? Don't forget, these two events were blamed on extreme negligence, pretty much until now. And just the fact that we are seeing this, the second shooter's manifesto, isn't that enough to see something's a little bit off here, everyone? Where'd the guy get the money to do all this traveling? Again, he flew to Taipei. Do you know where the hell Taipei is? That's a place you say you flew in from as a joke because it's too far. Sorry I'm late. I just flew in from Taipei. Boy, are my arms tired. Boy, is my bank account exhausted because it's so expensive to fly from there. And I have no money because I only do contract work and it's try to assassinate former presidents. Also, why is the media not bringing up gun control with the second shooter? I'm telling you that weapon probably came from Ukraine. Look into the weapon. Mark, anything on this shooter before we take a break and go actually to Shapiro and Zelensky when we come back?
No, again, just to recap what you just said. He said in court he made $3,000 a month. He had zero funds in savings and had no assets beyond 2 trucks in Hawaii. But yeah, this guy's living in Hawaii. He's flying all over the world, back and forth from Ukraine to Taipei. Who knows? Yet all of a sudden we're supposed to believe, and he was going to offer somebody $150,000 to kill Donald Trump.
Yeah. Maybe
hey, we're crazy.
This Biden economy is making everyone. Okay. Him or Diddy, the diddler, one of them will not live to see 2025, guaranteed. They're going to shoot this dude in the belly at a police precinct basement. I'm telling you, they're not going to let him talk. Anyway, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about our own governor, not Tom Wolf, Josh Shapiro, sending munitions to Ukraine and signing them like he's autographing them like he's Barry Bonds or something. Stay tuned. You're listening to Thinking Logic on 99.3 FM WBVP.
Beaver County Radio, your hometown radio station. You're listening live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, proud to call Beaver County home.
It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond. You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product. Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 FM WBVP. We covered quite a lot today, basically the entire, the worst, best parts of the Oprah-Kamala interview. Assassination attempts on Trump, who the people are, where it's coming from, Iran. We like I said, we cover quite a lot, but this story is Pennsylvania. It involves Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, and of all people to be coming into Pennsylvania, Zelensky. So right now in Pennsylvania, we have Zelensky, we have Trump, we have Alex Jones, Jack Posobiec, Tucker Carlson, spread out all across the state. But this Zelensky thing, Mark, he was flown to Pennsylvania on a U.S. Air Force C-17. That wasn't free, probably. The Biden-Harris administration, they're paying to fly him to the United States, Zelensky, so he could campaign with Democrats and attack their opponents. That just, to me, that just sounds criminal. like not like criminal, just financially criminal, right, Mark?
It's definitely strange, I think, and most Americans wouldn't think anything of it. That's the sad part.
It's very sad because that's the first thing I thought of. Maybe I'm just a loser nerd that only follows politics, but that is the first thing I'm talking about. What did this cost, and why is this happening?
They flew him here on a C-17, and he meets with our great governor, Josh Shapiro. Joe, what was he? Why was he autographing bombs?
I have no idea, but honestly, maybe this is a double-edged sword here. It's fine for him to do it as long as they're being dropped on the Russians. No one will say a word. But if he were signing these, let's say that was Bibi Netanyahu standing behind him and not Zelensky. If he was signing those to be dropped on Palestine and stuff, there'd be a lot of people, and rightfully so, that had a major issue with that. But because they're being dropped on Russians and people from the Donbass, some of them who are actually Ukrainian that don't want to be a part of Ukraine, that, you know, kind of side with Russia because they speak Russian. Crickets. And then Doug Mastriano, you know I like Doug. He put out a tweet saying, nothing like a warmongering beta male wanting to send other people's kids to fight in foreign wars. And he's right. We can't have a war, especially with these people at the helm. Right, Mark?
Yeah, I didn't know Doug tweeted that, but that's hilarious. He's right though.
I mean, he looks like he's at a Comic-Con with, instead of a bunch of like fans, it's just a bunch of like munitions, bombs that kill
I just
people.
feel like every time Zelensky comes here, he's got the handout. Wanting more money. I mean, we just gave him $63 billion a few months ago. I mean, how much more does he want?
They used to give him like the royal treatment.
Yeah.
Like,
and what did they say, Joe? 80% of that doesn't even get to where it's supposed to be. It just gets laundered somehow.
You know what that means? Less than 20% then. If they're saying 80% doesn't, that means less than 20% isn't getting there. Maybe none of it.
Yeah.
Who knows? But again, just to tie a bow on it, Zelensky's campaigning. Vladimir Zelensky from Ukraine is here campaigning on taxpayer dime for Kamala Harris in a battleground state. Again, using your money, your taxpayer money. I don't know.
Don't forget, they are more worried about Ukraine's border than our very own.
Yes, they are.
I mean,
it's a great point.
Everyone should have that in their mind when they go to vote.
They will defend it to the death. But our border, come on over, kill a few citizens, do whatever to them. It doesn't matter. It's a privilege to be an American. All right.
By the way, the illegal alien that killed that guy in Dormont, Joe, didn't have a driver's license either and was driving a car illegally.
Of course, go figure. We have laws in the books that prevent that. If it was a gun, be like, how could this have happened? We need more automobile legislation. How was he able to drive without a license? So stupid. All right. So we haven't covered P. Diddy, who from now on in this program we refer to only as the Diddler. So no more P. Diddy, no more Puff Daddy, the Diddler. So Pink and numerous other musicians and I think celebrities delete their posts. What's that? Usher. I forgot about that. It's right. Usher Raymond. Now the community notes going around, they're saying that I believe... There are community notes going around on other people's posts about how Pink stopped using X years ago. That is true, but she recently must have logged back in and mass deleted her posts except for 2 of them. And I think that was a few months ago. Again, it's not like she's going to say, "Oh, Diddy got arrested. I better delete everything now." You get ahead of that. You know what I mean? I'd imagine if she did anything wrong. Not saying anyone did anything wrong. Just it's weird that all these celebrities at the same exact time delete their posts. Mark.
Either a lot of people are coming down with a diddler, or they're just going to use all of this for blackmail to control people. One or the other.
All right. What time is it here? We only got about 2 minutes and 30 seconds here left in the episode. Friendly reminder, because we got to wrap it up, to all listening in our audience, that I made a prediction a couple months ago that Joe Biden would step down as president or be removed by late September. I guess I'm running out of time. We only got a few weeks. I'm not cashing in that bet yet. It could still happen. With my luck, though, it won't happen until October, and everyone will call me wrong and a liar. Mark, great episode. We're almost into October where there'll be surprises. Anything before we go?
Well, I was just going to ask you, do you have any predictions for October surprise?
I think my prediction is there will not be one single October surprise. It will be like, I don't know, a flood. Like the floodgates open, and it might be, I don't know about every day, but it might be every week. If you follow the news cycle, I mean, so many things in the last couple years. I mean, Russian collusion, every COVID lab leak, border agents whipping migrants, Trump's nuclear codes, secrets at Mar-a-Lago, Steele dossier, Muslim travel ban, the Don't Say Gay bill, all these things that have happened. We never really got, I don't know about the Don't Say Gay bill, but rocket that hit Poland launched by Russia, insurrection, Sicknick murdered by protesters. We have all these things that we never have answers to ever. So I think we're going to get that in October, just nonstop. And it's just going to be a news cycle for a day, a week, and that's it. Does that answer your question, Mark?
Yeah. Good episode, Joe, but I know we're running out of time. I will not be here Thursday. Going to Sebastian Maniscalco down in Pittsburgh, the great Italian comedian.
And he is legal, right?
Have a good episode Thursday. And what's that?
He is legal. He has his green card, right?
Yes.
Okay, he did it the right way. All right, Ryan, anything?
Just a little bit off top of politics. And anybody, real quick, you don't really have to get into it. Did you see the second moon moving into our around our Earth. We're going to have 2 moons as of September 29th.
We touched on it last episode. I did not see the new moon yet. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Apparently it's supposed to be from September 29th till November 20-something. So there's a 2-month period that we're going to have a second moon, apparently. So
nice. All right. Again, only one more week left in September. Then comes October. When will we see the first October surprise? How many will there be? I'm not sure, but this fall might make the Summer of Love look like an 8th grade ice cream social. Again, Bread and Circus, 2 football games tonight. Monday Night Football, back to 2 games. Sounds nice. Make it twice. Enjoy that. We'll be back here Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. You've been listening to Thinking Logically on 99.3 FM WBVP.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
You're listening to